Hello and welcome to another edition of Midlands Business Update, the big centre show that meets the people behind some of the region's successful companies. Later on, we'll be chatting to a food company which is bringing a taste of the Caribbean to the West Midlands. First, though, with a growing number of people working alone or certainly in isolated situations these days across the UK, the need to protect them as they go about their daily business is more important than ever. And that's precisely why local company Lonealert is doing such good business. Sales and marketing manager Matthew Colley is here to tell us more. Matthew, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
Now, Lonealert is part of a bigger group, isn't it? So
It is.
tell us where it fits in then.
Okay, well, Lonealert as a product is owned by Advanced IT Solutions, who in turn are owned by a software and development company, Advanced IT Group, who are based in the Black Country in Halesowen and have been done so for 20 years now.
And so what does the group in total do then? How broad are their products?
Very broad, to be honest. We do a bespoke software development based on the client's needs, putting business systems into businesses to help them meet their requirements. We do non-conformity and rapid recording applications which work on mobile phones to speed delivery of information from site to office, and we do workforce management tools amongst several other niche products for clients as well.
When Lonealert was the product that really grabbed my attention, because I'm thinking to myself, you read all of the reports at the moment in the local economy saying that the number of people either working from home or working alone or working remotely on site, maybe with fewer colleagues around them, is growing all of the time, isn't it? So just explain the concept then of Lonealert.
Okay, I think you sort of summed it up essentially in the target market being people who do work alone, not necessarily in dangerous situations, but who do work alone and might be subject to threats, either accidents, slips, trips and falls, violence from people they're working with, violence from people in the community where they happen to be working, who they might not be working with, home workers, the self-employed, international travellers, a full gamut of people really. Now, the way that the product works is essentially it just allows people who work alone remotely to call for help very quickly, very simply, very discreetly if they do need any assistance, if they come to any harm. And consequently that helps an employer meet their duty of care to the lone workers and to ensure they obviously maintain compliance and don't put directors of the business at vulnerability of corporate manslaughter cases and charges.
Is it the same sort of principle then as the sort of equipment or the sort of technology that would run things like panic cords that you might pull in sort of residential sheltered housing developments then?
Similar, and sort of without getting too technical, the residential homes normally they're wired into a phone line, so they're fixed location, but of course with lone workers they could be working anywhere within a town, a region, the world. So generally speaking, you move more towards mobile-based technology, so our devices either operate on mobile phones, on smartphones, or we have dedicated devices with SIM cards in which allow them to roam anywhere, or we do also offer satellite-based devices which can be used in very remote areas such as the Highlands of Scotland, Russia, Africa, etc. So it's a range of solutions basically in the technology.
So if I was about to set off on a contract up in that Highlands of Scotland as a lumberjack or doing whatever I'm doing, and I approach you guys and I say, right, can you help me? How does it work then and what happens?
Okay, what happens is obviously be an understanding of your requirements. So essentially the sort of scenario you outlined, it would be the satellite-based device. We'd supply the lone worker with the piece of equipment. We'd supply the organisation with a web-based management suite which allows them to administer their account but also keep an eye on the lone worker's safety. If any alarms are activated, they're showed on there, and it also gives them an audit log of information. So that would all be supplied, and then full training would be given, and then the lone workers would obviously carry out their sort of work. I mean, training for lone workers is about 15 minutes. It's a really simple piece of equipment, which is key because these people are employed to do a job, not to sit there messing about with lone working equipment. It's got to be quick and easy for them to use. So.
And you've got a piece of this equipment just to show us, haven't you?
Yeah, certainly.
Visualising sort of what size it's going to be. So it's like a mobile phone type size,
yeah,
really, isn't it?
Yeah, so probably smaller than a mobile phone in fairness, supplied on a leather case, so it's nice and robust. Click to the belt and that's all there is to it. 5 buttons on the front, panic button, press that button, it sort of checks you in and says it's an I'm okay check-in, and then if you fail to press that by a certain time, the alarm's activated, press the panic button, the alarm's activated, and I've switched it off because we're being interviewed, but There's a fall sensor on here as well, which activates if it moves past the vertical, which automatically raises the alarm.
And presumably you can decide exactly what settings you want to include in your own. You can tailor make your settings, whether you want it to be a complex check-in system every 10-15 minutes or...
Absolutely. Everything's customisable within the solution and within the equipment, because we've got such a diverse range of customers. It's important that we meet all those requirements. So, yeah, we say everything's customisable, and in reality 90% of it is.
So what sort of customers have you got then?
It varies, to be honest. I mean, some of our customers, both in terms of company size, industry that they work in, and geographic location. So we look after, on the one hand, we look after the British Red Cross, we look after Thames Water for their requirements, we look after organisations such as BP and Boeing, which are obviously the organisations that everybody knows. But then we also look after a lot of smaller charitable organisations, a lot of companies working in the water and utility supply chain. We look after, funny enough, quite a few IT companies where they've got call centre staff working 24/7 or customer support staff working alone over weekends. So really it's a full range. I think one of my sort of unique customers is I've got a self-employed roofer who's developed a fear for heights, so he's taken probably in the wrong line of business.
Absolutely.
But he's took one of the man-down device. He's self-employed, so if he has an accident, nobody knows. So this ties into our monitoring centre. So if he has an accident, somebody gets notified. But a full range of clients, all sizes, all industries, including some abroad as well.
Do you target abroad then, or has that just been sort of word of mouth?
Largely through word of mouth. I mean, Britain and the UK is leading the way in the lone worker market. We've developed the British standard. We really are exporting the principle of health and safety and looking after lone workers internationally. So when organisations abroad are looking for a solution, they generally do look towards the UK for a solution to protect their lone workers.
Is there anything else like this on the market? Do you have any competition directly?
Unfortunately so. But as Colley says, competition is good for us. It is quite a fiercely competitive market. It's probably set into about 20 main players really within the marketplace, all of which various strengths and weaknesses, and we consider that we're one of the leading ones amongst them.
And what size company are you then? How many people do you employ?
We're a software company, so generally the scale of work we do belies our size. So we're currently at about 12, an organisation of 12 people with some obviously part-time labour as well. We support very much predominantly women returning to work from maternity leave, so we have lots of flexible working environments for them as well. But 12 people with a couple of part-timers around that as well. But we're going through a period of growth, so we're looking to increase staff numbers as well.
And has Lonealert been out on the market then long enough for you to have built up a series of sort of case studies of success stories, crises that you've managed to avoid as a result of what you do?
Yeah, I think it's important to note that the lone worker solution doesn't really stop somebody getting hurt. It's not a magic shield that will stop getting somebody attacked, but what it does do is it does mean that when somebody is attacked or does have an accident, then the alert is raised very quickly. It's not hours till somebody realises that Joe's not turned up to work. It's within minutes. But with that in mind, we had a client who had a number of health issues who used, again, the man-down fall alarm that I showed earlier. And he had a collapse once, so we had to arrange the ambulance to get through to his place of work and provide, obviously, emergency aid to him. We've also had in Telford a security guard monitoring a site as a manned guard. Some metal thieves jumped over the M54, off from the M54 into the site, stabbed him in the leg and then made off, and he was able to press the panic button and police were there within minutes. So we have had incidents where it's made a difference to people. To be truthful, we'd probably prefer that we didn't have those incidents because somebody is getting hurt, but at least we are able to get people to them the correct assistance to them quickly.
But the fact that so many, as you say, you've got competitors in the industry, shows though that there's a growing need for it, and it is because, isn't it, that more and more people are ploughing their own furrow, working in an isolated environment, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been with the business for 5 years now. The product's been going for 9 years, but I've seen within the time I've been with the business a growing awareness of lone working issues amongst organisations, both driven from a health and safety and acknowledgement point of view, but also through to the fact that they do have more lone workers, and for the reasons you outlined, more and more people are working flexibly, more home workers, more self-employed people, which we've noticed an upsurge in since the recession hit a few years ago, as well as employers looking to make economic advantage by reducing double-man jobs down to what's sending one person on their own, which you obviously have to take a risk assessment to make sure it's safe to do so. But
so the growth curve for your company actually is becoming sharper all the time.
it is, yes.
Excellent.
It's going very well.
Well, Matthew, thank you for coming in. Fascinating product, and good luck in the future. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Carl.
After the break, we'll be meeting the team behind a company which has been bringing a Jamaican flavour to the food service industry in the West Midlands for more than a decade now. Don't forget, if you'd like to be in this chair as well, send us an email. Tell us about anything you've heard or anything you'd like to hear. business@bigcentre.tv. We'll see you in a moment.